Among the speeches given in this year's graduation season at American universities, I was most attracted by Angela Duckworth, a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. He talked about the topic of AI in education, which is actually a puzzle for many people. That is the question of how teachers should teach students and how to learn when artificial intelligence is coming. What about the audience below? He is a student studying educational psychology at the University of Pennsylvania in the United States, and a group of young people who are about to become psychologists and educators. Professor Angela himself is not an ordinary person. He has a bachelor's degree in neurobiology from Harvard University, an MA in neuroscience from the University of Oxford, and a PhD in psychology from the University of Pennsylvania. His best-selling book, The Power of Passion and Perseverance, became a global hit. Later, he received MacArthur's Genius Grant for innovative research. His TED Talks have been viewed more than 20 million times. At the graduation ceremony, he asked the graduates a question. Have you ever worried that if everyone relies on AI to replace thinking, will we humans lose the ability to truly think independently? Then he asked everyone to raise their hands on the issue, and as expected, many people raised their hands, including himself. As a psychologist who studies learning motivation, I'm really worried, he said. AI will become a crutch for students because the brain is like a muscle. It will degenerate if it is not used, and the more it is used, the stronger it will become, and our human nature likes to take shortcuts. Choose the simple and effortless path. He also cited some data. Many primary and secondary school teachers now believe that AI will do more harm than good to teaching, and 2/3 of university teachers are also worried that AI will destroy academic success. Doesn't that sound ridiculous? AI, obviously a tool invented by humans, how can it end up making us humans stupid and dishonest? But Angela then said, don't rush to conclusions, I'll tell you a story. One night, I was stuck at home with a statistical question. My husband, a real estate developer, sat right next to me, but he obviously didn't know anything about statistics and couldn't help much. So I opened ChatGPT, and ChatGPT explained the problem clearly in a few sentences, and also gave me some practical suggestions, saying how to use this method and what are the common misunderstandings. And then there was a little summary. Concise. Professor Angela then asked a few more questions, and ChatGPT answered them quickly, carefully, and patiently, and in less than 10 minutes, all the questions were solved, and she understood more thoroughly than she could have been stumbling for an hour. Then Ms. Angela asked the graduates, have you ever felt that AI has really made you smarter even a little bit? And if so, please raise your hand. The result? As expected, there was another large number of hands raised, and then Professor Angela said, actually, AI is not just a crutch, it can also be a coach. It says it has a really great PhD student named Ben. Ben once conducted an experiment in which he found 2 groups of young people who were looking for a job. They asked one group of people to use AI to help write their cover letters, while the other group wrote them themselves, and found that the group that used AI to help write not only took less time, but also improved their writing skills. Later, further research found that AI has a hidden skill in writing. That is, it is too good at demonstration, and he can polish a clumsy expression clearly and fluently. It can also cut nonsense and adjust the structure, and the user's writing level has been unconsciously improved. Mr. Egier said, speaking of which, I also want to confess that I did ask AI to help me polish the graduation speech I spoke on stage today. He paused and said, I know some of you are smiling on the surface and thinking that one of your university professors is asking AI to help you write a speech, but Professor Angela said that he doesn't feel ashamed at all because he asked the question himself. The content is screened by himself. The AI's advice is up to him to decide whether to use it or not. He didn't plagiarize, he didn't lie. He not only used AI to improve the quality of this speech, but also improved his own ability. Then he turned his gaze to the crowd in the audience. Graduates who are about to become teachers. Your generation will face a challenge that has never been seen before, he said. You need to lead the next generation to turn AI into an accelerator for learning, not a short-circuiter. You have to guide the students of the future. Don't be someone who blindly believes in technology, but don't be someone who doubts everything. What you need to do is be curious, judgmental, and take your future students to explore the boundaries of AI. Finally, Professor Angela said he thinks. The most important sentence is that when knowledge is readily available, students need teachers more than ever. Why? Because a true teacher is not only a person who imparts knowledge, but also a role model for learning the thing itself. He quoted Aristotle as saying that the roots of education are bitter, but the fruits are sweet. And the reason why Aristotle was able to say this was because Aristotle had a good teacher, and his teacher was called Plato. And Plato's teacher was Socrates. Finally, the professor shared that a few weeks ago, at the end of the semester, I told my students a little secret, and he said, all the knowledge I teach you can be found on the internet. Every reading material is available electronically online, and similar topics can be found online for every assignment. In other words, you can learn anything on the internet as long as you want. He said. The student's eyes widened, and then he continued, but you still need me. You need me to set this up for you. Read this on Tuesday and teach that on Thursday, and you need me to gather you into the classroom and create a safe space where you can really communicate with each other without cell phones or computers. You need me to set a high standard for you and then be firm enough to tell you that I believe you can do it. Professor Angela also talked about a very inspiring teacher she met when she was a student. Once, he said, Mr. CR walked into the classroom and sat at his desk in high spirits, and he looked around the class and said mysteriously, the knowledge in the library is free, but you have to bring your own containers to fill it. Professor Angela said that he still remembers this sentence of relying on his teacher to this day. However, he also wanted to add his own understanding. It's even better if you also have someone next to your container who genuinely cares about what you want to help you improve. And that person is often the teacher. That's one of my notes on Professor Angela's graduation speech. I hope to be able to inspire friends who are confused about education in the AI era. When we talk about AI, we're not just talking about the technology itself, we're actually re-talking about the value of people. Why do we want to learn? Why do we teach us why we need each other? As Professor Angela said, AI can be powerful, but human warmth, curiosity, love, and people inspire each other and inspire each other. The power of being a role model for each other is never replaceable.